Welcome back, artists. I'm Garrett and this is GB Brush. Today we have another drawing tutorial, perspective drawing. I'm going to keep this video to the bare basics, which is, if I'm honest, the most useful things to learn. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have noticed that I recently went and I saw Kim Jung-gi's art exhibition here in Seoul, South Korea. Now you might say, hey Garrett, why are you bringing that up? Today we're talking about the basics, 1-point, 2-point, and 3-point perspective, which will definitely take your works to a whole nother level of professionalism. But if you want to see what real perspective drawing is in like the highest level, check out Kim Jung-gi's work. He is an absolute master at just illustration, memorizing different, the way items look, the way clothes look, different props, all these kinds of things. But then two, the way he uses perspective is so high level. He'll bend and warp perspective all in a large frame and a small frame, fisheye lens it, concave it. So if you want to be inspired to take your perspective drawing to the next level, be sure to check out Kim Jung-gi. With that, let's change perspectives and jump right into the tutorial. All right, I'm happy with this new setup here. I got a new camera mount and I got a lot more space. And look at that, that's pretty trippy, bruh. Before I jump into it, one, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel because of course that helps me out. Two, I actually got this from the Kim Jung-gi the art exhibition that I was telling you about. But this is just, one little sticker I bought my friend. I got a couple other cool little art things around here. I got a cheap pencil. I have another piece of paper that I folded in half. I believe this is taxes or something that I should be paying attention about, but it's got coffee stains on it, so I'll get to that later. One, this is going to protect me. I'm left-handed, so I tend to smear things as I draw because I go this way through habit. But I fold it in half and then I could use it kind of like as a loose right angle. Now, other thing, I have a cheap eraser, and then this I picked up. I used to use this when I was doing drafting in college for, like set design. It's an eraser guard. So if you want to, erase but protect some areas of the line or something like that, these are really useful. I only wanted one and it came in a pack of 6 for like $5. And I said, can't I just get one? But they said, no, Gary, you need 6. So I have 6 now. And then I also got this cool little fine-tuned drafting eraser, which is good when you're doing precise drawing. You could use this and this, or you can just use this, or you could do whatever you want to do. I mean, it's your world, buddy. The horizon line forms unique to everybody because it's based on your eye level. So if you're a tall person, your horizon line is going to be, say a tall person standing next to a short person, and if they drew what they saw, their horizon would be higher. That's how that works. Now the horizon is just an abstract line or concept of a line that, maybe you're looking at the ocean. If you're looking at the ocean, you'll see a very clear horizon. And that would be if you could see until infinity, then you'll ultimately find a vanishing point where the curvature of the Earth, that's right, the Earth is not flat. I'm a curved Earth shill, I guess you could say. But if you kept seeing and nothing obstructed your view, there would be eventually a moment where you couldn't see anymore. They call that a vanishing point. And with 1-point perspective, we'll put at number 1, we're going to be using just one vanishing point. So let's say we're looking at a box, and let's say that this box is going to be below the horizon, so we're going to be looking down at it. That's another thing. We use the horizon to show us that are we looking at the top of something, or are we looking at the bottom of something? All right. So what you do is you can pick any point on this on this horizon line, and you can draw a guideline. All right. So I'm going to put one guideline there, and that's going to be like the edge of the top. And then for 1-point perspective, you want parallel lines. So let's make a couple parallel lines here. Let's make it a little higher. Boom. And then let's make another line. Again, all of these perspective lines or guidelines are all... Oh, that was terrible. Come on, Gary. What's the point of having a guide piece of paper if you're just gonna cock it up? Alright, so here we have... I don't know why I'm making these lines so dark. They're supposed to be guidelines. Anyways, then let's make some lines for the sides of the box. And we can figure out their length later. For now, let's just get them parallel. Now, if I had a proper right triangle as opposed to just a piece of paper, I can make this a little bit better, but you know, you get the concept. And if you're drawing quickly or freehand, you're not going to be doing all of this. You just need to understand these concepts. So here's another guideline like that. So you see what we're doing here, all right? And again, let's get another bottom line parallel to the horizon. And there we have a box, all right? Now let's darken up the actual box instead of the guidelines. And again, this is a drawing, not drafting, so it doesn't need to be perfect. And you guys will get what I'm talking about. All right, and then it's always good when you're drawing in perspective to make sure you're visualizing what's happening behind objects or behind the points of view. So for example, let's draw the back of the box. Let's make this box kind of see-through. A clear box or a semi-transparent box. I just cocked that up. All right, that is the most simple way. Man, this line is really... That's what happens when you can't turn the paper. You see, I'm drawing in front of a camera. I can't turn the paper. And you can draw much straighter lines, as I talked about in the last video, how to draw basic shapes. I'll put the clip up here. In that video, I talked about the importance of rotating your page so that you can stroke downwards, because when you're stroking downwards, you have much more control and you draw straight lines. And here in this video, I can't rotate it without it messing up the view for you guys back home. So I'm drawing sideways, which is going to equal messy lines. So that's what that is about. So check that video out if you haven't already. Now, if you're doing perspective drawing inside of a building, for example, like you're drawing the inside of a room, then obviously you're going to need to draw a horizon that's outside of the room, and then the walls of the room are going to limit the field of view, all right? So you'll need to kind of like first establish your point of view as if there's no walls, and then maybe draw the walls on top of it to make sure you can use your vanishing points. Or you could freehand it and just kind of, you know, use the concepts in the back of your mind, but it won't come out necessarily as precise. So we have one vanishing point here, and so we could make another, you know, perspective square there, but when you use 2 point, it can kind of warp it and make it look a little bit more dynamic. The key is you don't want the 2 points to be too close together. So I'm going to put this second vanishing point like kind of far over here. All right, so we got 2. Let's make like a center line here, just so I have another perpendicular line to reference when I'm drawing my vertical lines. You don't necessarily need to do this, it's just helpful to have a nice 90 degrees. So again, let's draw some guidelines from one point. Maybe that'll be the top of the box. This could be the bottom of the box. Let's make the box closer to this vanishing point, which will give it a little bit more uniqueness. Alright, so now let's put the box right here. So let's get some more So again, I drew this vertical line here to kind of reference. I'll do this quicker now that you guys get the gist of it. Let's see here. Let's put another line there, a line there. Yeah, you actually have to go to the vanishing point. There you go. That's better. And then let's get the other top end of this box from this vanishing point. So now, yeah, essentially you're using these 2 points to get, you know, twice the perspective, if that makes any sense. And therefore, it's like you're wrapping your vision around in a more dynamic way. So now let's darken up these box lines. Again, doesn't need to be perfect because you guys are smart, you get it. And then let's draw behind the box a little bit. Draw the back of the box. To show this example, I'm gonna again remember this is our horizon, so this is our eye line. So if we were looking at over the ocean, this box would be on the sand. Well, let's put the next box, let's put it like up in the air, like it's floating. And then that way you can see how you can use these perspective drawing tactics to draw items that you're looking at the bottom of also over the horizon. So let's draw some more guidelines. So again, 3-point perspective starts out just like 2-point perspective. And you can actually make infinite, you know, lines coming from this vanishing point, and then you could just pick whichever ones you want. I'm kind of drawing these lines pretty like unspecifically to start with right now. I'm just kind of seeing where the lines intersect, and then I could kind of create a box from there. 3-point perspective is going to have a third, yeah, it's really tricky, a third vanishing point vertically. So we could have a vanishing point right here, and I can draw lines coming from there. If I had a clear ruler, it would be easier, or if I was just freehanding it, it would be easier. But hey, this is what you can do if you're on a budget like myself. I don't want to go to the art store right now for this. Let's do one more over here. All right, so here we can see the makings of a great looking box. All right, looking good, my man. So essentially, the concepts of all 3 of these strategies, you just need to keep in the back of your mind. You know, when I'm drawing quickly, I'm not necessarily drawing all these guide marks to make everything specifically perfect. I do put down a couple vanishing points, maybe when I'm starting out the composition thumbnail or sketch of a drawing, but you know, I don't do it for every single object. I mean, for example, if I'll post a picture of one of my other drawings. Look at all these objects in this picture. You know, I didn't draw guidelines for every single object. That would just take forever. I just drew guidelines for, you could say, the main street and getting the shapes of the buildings. And then I used those shapes as reference to how to draw everything else. 3-point. Now you see here, when I was doing 1-point and 2-point, the vertical lines of the box, they were just 100% you know, vertical parallel to each other or perpendicular to the horizon. You know, they were 100% perpendicular. And, you know, that suits most situations. But if you're looking at something tall like a building, you'll notice that the building is the vertical lines are slightly turning in, because if that building was infinitely tall, it eventually would also have a vanishing point, and it gets smaller as it gets farther away from you. You don't necessarily need to draw this vanishing point. That's why I like 3-point perspective. You just got to know, like, okay, just don't make all the lines perfectly, you know, perpendicular to the horizon. Just know that, just angle them in a little bit. Just imagine up here there's a dot, and just draw those lines like that. All right, so let me just enter a time lapse and shade up these objects real quick. All right, well there you have 1, 2, and 3 point perspective. Now maybe I'll do another video in the future about how to precisely draw shadows. But in the meantime, not quite done yet. Look at this. We got all this room right here. Might as well do a fun little drawing to just kind of put it all together and show you how you can use perspective drawing, or these kinds of strategies to aid in actual real art. Nobody wants to draw just boxes all day. You could take any shape or any kind of thing you could think of, simplify it into shapes, think about it as in shapes, and then use these principles of using vanishing points along the horizon to figure out how to more accurately illustrate it. So without any more talking, enjoy the time lapse. I will make this illustration right here, and then I'll do a little summary at the end. Alright, well I think that about does it. I could of course keep tinkering with it, making the shadows more smooth with blending and stuff like that, but you get it. With this guy, I ran out of paper, so I had to use a vanishing point off the paper, and so I just made sure I kind of lined up my guide sheet of paper with the horizon, and I drew a couple guidelines based around that, So if you run out of paper for guidelines, you can just visualize it and wing it. Wristwatch check, wearing my Orient Ray 2, a nice dive watch. This is one of the best bang for buck automatic dive watches you can get. So if you were wondering about that, yeah, it works great on the rubber strap. I also updated the crystal. But you guys aren't here for watches, so I'll wrap it up. Drop in the comments, what do you guys want me to talk about next time? Leave any productive, constructive criticism. And as always, keep making that art. We'll see you next time. Adios.